Hey everyone, I thought I'd come back for a 4-week update. My name is Trish. If you're just finding these videos, I had bariatric surgery, the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, on December 15th, 2020. So I'm currently 4 weeks out from surgery. As a reminder, my stats when I started this process, I started back in June, so June 13th, 2020 at 395 pounds. My pre-surgery weight was 314 pounds on December 14th, 2020. Today is January 12th, 2021, and I am currently at 291 pounds. So 104-pound loss overall and 23 pounds down in 4 weeks, so since surgery. My last update was at kind of the 2-week mark and was still doing really well. I still am doing really well. No pain. I've been off of pain medication for a few weeks now. Luckily for me, never had to take the opioids, so that was really helpful. I am still on a Prilosec, so a daily acid prevention, and will be for at least the next 6 months or next 5 months. I'm also still taking the Actigol since I still have a gallbladder, so that's lovely 3 times a day. Week 3 and 4 was a little tougher for me. So the first 2 weeks, handling liquids was fine, but I definitely started to get soup burnout and really missed chewing. Week 3 and then week 4 definitely was the hardest for me, knowing that I was so near being able to at least adding soft foods. I definitely was able to increase my activity over weeks 3 and 4. Longer walks, walking more quickly, kind of power walking my general route a few times a day. And then today was able to actually, one, be cleared for regular exercise. Yay, so I can get back to my normal routine. But 2, to be able to get back to more of a interval jogging scenario for my workouts. So I did notice that over the last month, I definitely lost some of that cardiovascular stamina, and noticed, my lungs were burning a little bit while I was actually jogging, about a 90-second interval. But I did feel a lot lighter on my feet, so that's great. Another 23 pounds since I jogged last will do that. I'm excited about the progress I'm making. I kind of thought maybe I would be a little farther along this first month, but I definitely had some restroom issues. So if you're not here for the graphic stuff, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm going to share it all. Because I think it's important for people thinking about going through this surgery like this to understand what's actually involved. So I have a really great surgical and dietitian team that works with me through Stanford Valley Care in Pleasanton, California. They're great. They are a wonderful program. It's the same program my sister went through, and they give a lot of instruction. I mean, a lot of instruction. It's an entire binder full of pre-surgery, post-surgery, what your life is going to be like, tips, and then guidelines for being as successful as you possibly can be. So shout out to them, and kudos for a great program, and just, thankful for them having such a organized bit of information to share with their patients. They do have a whole section that talks about things like constipation and diarrhea. As you can imagine, being that you're on an all liquid diet and with the Actigol, it is really easy for you to have diarrhea all the time. Or, this is feast or famine, people, massive constipation for days at a time. I was a pretty regular pooper before surgery, and now I really have to depend on Fiber supplements are hard for me because it takes so long for me to drink them. They start to like thicken up in the glass, and I just don't have the room for them. So I've found that a little bit of prune juice mixed with water, so that it's not like straight prune juice, every day. And again, just a few ounces mixed with water helps me to kind of keep things moving so that at least something is happening. I definitely had, after week 2, a little bit of a stall because I couldn't go to the bathroom. So now that I'm kind of staying on top of that, that has resolved itself and it's getting better. So no going into this. My team told me to have a few methods of, bathroom help when it came to constipation, and that is real. That's a real thing. It's real life. You definitely want to invest in whatever works for you. Safe fiber supplements if you can. The prune juice works great. You can get the lower sugar stuff if you're really concerned about it. It's not quite as strong as the full strength stuff, or something like a Miralax, like a safe stool softener is also a good option for you. But stay on top of it. Do it every day, because if you don't, it's really easy to slide back into not being able to go. So that's the end of the very graphic part of this video. Moving on past that, like I said, week 3 and 4 were really tough with liquid burnout. I was getting really tired of my protein waters and protein shakes. It's, however, much easier to get in everything you need to through liquids. So even though I'm transitioning over to soft foods now, I'm still getting the majority of my calories and protein from supplement sources, because you can take in so little currently. So I'll give an example of what I've eaten the last 2 days as I'm edging into soft foods. So this morning I had 1 scrambled egg and actually finished the whole thing, but was very full. So I'll probably have to step back from that just a little bit and not eat the entire scrambled egg, which sounds really stupid because I am a person that used to get like Nation's breakfast with hash browns and toast and eggs and meats and you name it. So yeah, 1 scrambled egg for breakfast. And then right now I'm waiting at least 30 minutes before I start drinking any liquids again after I've taken in solid foods, just to prevent you feeling sick or pushing that through your system too fast. You can make yourself throw up if you take in too quickly, or you won't absorb all of the nutrients from that food properly if you do drink too soon after you've eaten solid foods. I also had a little bit of tuna today. So I had a half a can of tuna mixed with about a tablespoonish of mayonnaise. And that was lunch. And I was, again, very full from that. I did discover a really handy little recipe from another YouTuber where you take a little pasta sauce. So I made my own. I took some diced canned tomatoes and blended them, and then just did a little onion and bell pepper sauteed and a tiny little bit of ground beef in it, just for flavor more than anything else, and let that cook down for, I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour with whatever seasonings you like. So salt, pepper. I like a little bit of extra basil and some Italian seasoning. I always put a little chili powder and paprika in my pasta sauce, just because I think it tastes better, and use that as a base. So I'll put in like a 1/4 cup, maybe 1/3 cup in the bottom of a ramekin, and then a tablespoon or 2 of ricotta. You can top with a little Parmesan if you want, or a little mozzarella for a little more cheese, and then pop that into my toaster oven. I would say I put it in at like 375 for about 10 or 15 minutes. And it comes out like nice and bubbly hot. And it was a great way for me to get the flavor of lasagna without the noodles. I did have to have my husband finish the last couple bites because I was so full last night. But so far, my foray into foods is going really well. I know that your surgeon and dietitian would still want you to prioritize proteins above everything else. So I'm, again, still supplementing. I still drink my protein waters. I still have at least one protein shake a day on top of these little bits of food that I'm trying. And again, it's very little, a few ounces only, and one mouthful at a time. I have to go pretty slow, but I make sure that I'm not eating longer than about 20 minutes because then I know I'm just continuing to put food inside without actually still being hungry. So that's the other big difference, is getting used to the new sensation of being satisfied before you get too full. So I definitely have had to be a little bit more careful about like sitting and watching TV or sitting and actively working while I'm eating. I have to really sit and think about how I feel with every bite that I take because it's so new. So I've also done a little bit of sweet potato for kind of the first thing I tried yesterday because I knew it would be gentle on my stomach. And I got about 4 spoonfuls and then was full and couldn't eat anymore. So it's an adjustment, but I definitely am happy to be incorporating real food back into my diet and not just soup. I'm a little burnt out on soup. Obviously, I'm still going to be having liquids and soups more often, but now I won't have to blend them. So I'll actually have some texture. Yay. But they still all need to be soft. So take a drink because we're supposed to be doing that every couple of minutes to keep on top of our fluid intake. So that's the biggest thing, is always have some kind of liquid around you that you can continue to drink. Now, in my 4 weeks, the only liquids I have had are a very little bit of water. I've been actually prioritizing the protein waters over regular water just to make sure that I get hydration and protein goals accomplished every day. Definitely has helped with healing up faster from surgery. My incisions look like little scratches. There's not much left, which is great. No pain. And I really think it's helped me keep my energy level up. Obviously, I'm still not quite to normal energy level, but definitely much better than I thought I was going to be. I was in a class, one of the dietitian classes, with another group of people that had surgery around the same time. And a lot of the ones that were really struggling with protein intake or their liquid intake were struggling with other side effects that I didn't have and weren't bouncing back as quickly. Some going back into the hospital because of dehydration. Others really dealing with pain management issues. I didn't have any of that. So really, the bathroom issues were the only big thing for me. Everything else has been pretty smooth sailing. And I really, again, credit it toward going through that binder that they gave me multiple times. Watching other YouTube videos of other people that have gone through this process to see their successes and, I won't say fails, but lessons. That definitely helped me make better choices moving forward. That, and what I talked about from the very beginning, is getting into the right headspace for this process. So not making excuses for myself, not listening to negative self-talk. I definitely had some moments, especially where I was a little bit more tempted in the last couple of weeks. We're in the midst of football season right now. I am a big football fan, literally and figuratively. And the one thing you notice when you go from really not watching a whole lot of like cable television or network television to watching football during football season is most of the commercials are food. And for somebody with even a mild food addiction that's in the midst of this process, seeing that and having those messages thrown at you over and over and over again is tough. So it really took a lot of me kind of digging deep and knowing that this is for a purpose and that I could hurt myself if I attempted to eat things that weren't on the prescribed liquid diet for the first 4 weeks. And keeping that in mind, you know, I'm doing this to be better to my body, not to hurt myself. So that, you know, kind of helped me stay on track and not give in to those cravings for chicken wings and chips and French fries, and we're going to stop talking about that now. Getting back into a normal exercise routine, like I mentioned, definitely has been a little bit more difficult because I'm still not all the way back to a full energy level. So in the beginning, and because you're not taking in a whole lot of calories, having the protein supplementation definitely helps. I think it's the only way I got through my jog today. That interval, I did about 15 minutes of intervals and then 15 minutes of walking on top of my normal walk around the neighborhood, which is about anywhere from 15 to 18 minutes, depending upon my pace. So I got in a lot of exercise today, which is great. And I'm looking forward to at least 6 days a week, getting back to kind of a normal workout routine, and then having one day where I kind of just do my stroll around the neighborhood to kind of keep my body moving, but not push myself too hard. We'll see how that goes. I, will definitely let you guys know once I check in again. But the temptation thing is real. And pushing through it is kind of your only option. Giving in, again, you could do a lot more damage than good for something that's very temporary, right? Everything we eat is temporary. So why put yourself at risk for something temporary? And I think that's actually a good lesson for everybody, not just those going through bariatric surgery and recovery like I am. Temptation of any kind and the foods you choose are all temporary. The flavor is temporary, right? That feeling of satisfaction is temporary. But what will last the longest is whether or not you were able to make smart choices to fuel your body, because those temporary choices stick with you and you don't get the enjoyment out of them in the long run. So why not fuel yourself with something that is more nutritionally whole, and you can still make taste delicious. So there you go. I did just pick up a new cookbook. I think I put it in the other room. The sleeve gastrectomy diet book. I will, in the comments below the video, share the one I picked up. It's got some really great recipes for kind of all stages of recovery. So from your very beginning liquid diet all the way through to kind of a normal gastric sleeve diet once you're able to eat solid foods normally again. So I haven't tried any of the recipes yet, but they look really good and I've got some good ideas. I am a terrible recipe follower. I tend to look and get ideas and then kind of adjust for my own taste. So there you go. But some of my favorite things have been to just get some pre-made soups and season them up a little better so that I didn't have to spend a lot of time standing over the stove. One of the recipes, though, that I really did enjoy and that my husband enjoyed, I blended and strained mine. He ate whole, was a sausage and kale soup. So honestly, really easy. I got some Italian sausage, and then depending on how many you're making it for, I think I threw in like 3 links because I knew I wasn't going to have very much blended in my soup. Browned that, threw in some chicken broth. I did half chicken broth, half chicken bone broth, and then topped off with a little bit of water if I just needed a little more space. I threw in a little bit of russet potato to thicken it a bit. Again, a little more carby, but I ate so little of it, it didn't really matter. And that way it's nice and hearty for the winter for those in your family that may not be going through this process. I threw in a whole head of kale that I had stripped up, into little pieces, and then seasoned. So I really love that Badia adobo seasoning. It's salty, it's a little citrusy, but it really does give your soups a really great flavor. So use some of that. A lot of smoked paprika because it's delicious and why not? And then I put a little oregano in mine as well, and let that cook down. You can add a little hot sauce if you want, if you like something a little bit with a kick to it. But let that cook for, I let mine cook for about an hour and reduce. And then again, I measured out what my serving was going to be and blended it. And it turned out a really great, creamy, delicious soup. So there's an idea for you guys. I make mine in a pretty big stock pot and then just save the leftovers, which was great. So there's some ideas. When you take it out and serve it, you can also add a little bit of either sour cream or Greek yogurt just to give it a little bit more creaminess, just a little dollop, and it was pretty good. So other than that, I do have to say, I also credit my success so far with the amount of support that I've had overall. I definitely would not be this far without a lot of strong people around me that are either going through the same thing or are just very supportive of the process. So thanks to everybody that's been there to kind of help me through this, especially encouraging me in those moments of temptation. You know, these last 2 weeks were definitely tougher, but again, it's temporary. I got through it, and now, you know, I can try little bits of soft food, one thing at a time, which seems to be going really well. So that's where I'm at so far. I hope this was instructive for those of you that are thinking about going through surgery, and even for the rest that aren't, a little bit more about kind of what I've been doing. I will try and keep these up every couple of weeks throughout my process to let you guys know how I'm doing and what's working for me, what's not, things I learn along the way, and stay tuned, I guess. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.